Yeah, it's recording. Yeah. So, hi everyone. Wait, let me do that properly. Alright. Hi everyone, and welcome to another disco-y themed episode. It's not. The episode of Trip on Multiverse with your host, the man who's meant to be a teenager but looks well into his 40s, Carl Charles, and
the only live version adaptation that Uncle Ben does not get killed in, CY Chung.
oh yeah, he doesn't, isn't it? And today, we are reviewing and talking about a show that came out before either of us was born.
Yeah.
Either of us was born, and I don't know if I'll say it's a far superior version of something else we reviewed from this time period. And we are talking about the Spider-Man short-lived TV series from 1977 to 1979.
Yeah. Technically speaking, the 1977 is the pilot movie, and then 1978 and 1979 was the two series, which are only 6 episodes each. Strange enough.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was surprised. I was like, it's just assumed standard 22 episodes or something like that. It just seemed like it went on longer than that.
Wow. And you know what I find funny about this? It's hardly ever mentioned, this show, by anyone, which is hilarious. But I can see why.
Go on, you go first.
No, because like you said, I watched episode 1 and 2, which is like a movie, right? And then I think 3 and 4.
Are you counting episode 1 and 2, or are you saying the pilot movie as episode 1?
I think that was it.
Okay.
And then I watched another one with a petroleum bomb or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and that was enough for me.
Yeah. So I remember this coming on TV when I was a kid. And first of all, I was a Spider-Man fan, and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Same.
And then when I started watching it, I don't know what number episode it was in, but I just assumed, all right, they've already done the origin thing, and he's now Spider-Man. That's how it starts, I guess.
No.
A bit like the animated series in '94.
Yeah, because that starts literally as Spider-Man, because the first episode is Night of the Lizard. See, I remember that.
Now, to be fair, to what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, the guy was 27 when he was Spider-Man, by the way.
Really? People in that age, people back then just aged really badly. So,
you thought Christopher Reeve was 40 when he was 24 when he was Superman.
Yeah, as I'm saying, like
but I don't think here Nicholas Hammond is playing a school kid.
No, he's playing like university, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? It's called Empire State University, but it's American college. So...
Yeah.
But is he still older than the average college kid? That's the question.
I would probably say yes, because I feel like...
Sorry, I meant as far as the character he's playing, not the actor.
Yes, I mean, character playing, because I feel like Peter Parker being poor and stuff didn't go to uni/college straight away. He might have to do things in between.
I think in the comics he just went.
Yeah, he comes straight away on it.
Yeah.
But I could be. What?
Yeah. This series. I guess So from what you saw the extremely poor green screen. I didn't even say CGI, but it's a proper horrible green screen, because it's like it's laid out on the floor, wherever it is. There's portrait, and Nicholas Hammond is pretending to climb a pole in his not Spider-Man costume, because he's like working out his powers for the first time, and he's like, I know the real projection here looks terrible.
Yes, it wasn't the greatest. I'll give it it's the 70s, so it's a TV show. They're not gonna have like millions of dollars to do anything, are they? So I kind of allow them for that. I'll allow them for that, being creative and being able to do what they did.
What we just say about the webs that basically are ropes that they throw on top of people off screen so they could get webbed up.
Terrible.
Yeah, I know. In fact, I think there was a bit. Okay, I think it was in the pilot, so you might have seen it, or it might have been one of the early episodes.
Yeah.
But one of the security guards managed to knock out Spider-Man somehow, where he's fighting someone in front of him, and Spider-Man somehow has a weakness to wrench pipes or whatever it is, right? So he gets KO'd. Then the guy lifts him up, right? Yeah. A bit like how Stephanie McMahon got lifted up by Kane, and you're talking about the static when they don't move, so it's dummies, right?
Yeah.
Then he throws them off the building, and then the Spider-Man shoots the webs and he catches himself.
Oh yeah, and they go, "Hey, because happened an episode I watched, and it was like,
I
we
think it
thought we
happens
killed
again later
Spider-Man.
on as well. They
Probably.
use the exact same footage.
Again, I've let him off in the semis. I can't. Yeah, I'm not gonna bitch and moan. Yeah.
But so, I think something that will surprise you is that Andrew Garfield was older than Nicholas Hammond when he was playing Teenage Spider-Man in Amazing Spider-Man.
But he looked younger. Like I said.
Well, I guess, see that, but he was playing a high school kid, so they
Yeah.
they made him dress that way, you know.
Yeah.
Though I guess if you're playing a teenage kid in the 70s, you'd still be walking around with flares and whatnot. So
yeah. So it doesn't really help, does it? Yeah.
Yeah. This series is look, it's called Amazing Spider-Man. It definitely is not that. Right?
No.
It has that formula of we've got villain. Well, Spider-Man has villains, even in this time period, which is like 15 years after the comics, right?
Yeah. So he's got a Rose Gallery.
Yeah, except we don't use none of them.
No,
none of them whatsoever. Not even the non-fantastical ones, like Kingpin at the time and the Chameleon, or like okay, Kraven the Hunter maybe a bit too much still, but you could probably have a guy in a safari jacket. Whatever,
yeah. There's ways around it.
If you were going in that direction, if you wanted to. No, we ain't gonna use none of those.
Because even like the first episode, right, where it's got the hypnotist, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
They could easily just said somehow made that be Mysterio. Yeah,
or even what's the guy, the ringmaster in his Circus of Crime or something like that.
Yeah. They could have done that. Yeah.
The ringmaster. It doesn't have, the ringmaster with his spinny helmet thing, right? It doesn't need to be the rest of the Circus of Crime, even though they could have used it. And then there's the Big Man and Ox and the Enforcers.
Yeah. But were they would have been around the comics back then, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. They were in early Spider-Man comics.
Yeah, so
early Spider-Man, proper.
Again, could easily adapt them into.
If they were just do criminals, right? But it just seemed like this was. I allow it for the Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Because he's not around, he's not going to have a rogues gallery to come and find or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like, okay, well, it's going to be criminals, all right? But we're not going to use any of the criminals that you already established, which. With powers, which we can't, which is fine. But then it's like, we're not even going to use anyone else you've established. And it's like, okay, then why does this series exist?
Why do you even bother? Yeah, it's all making it.
As we were saying about the Japanese Spider-Man, right, back then, I was saying that what they could, I didn't elaborate, but I was saying what they could have done with this series is the relationships Peter Parker has with everyone else. So you could have the crime story or whatever's going on in the background there, but you have the Spider-Man standard things that don't go right with his life, as it's going on, and that'd be more of the draw because it was all about the drama and the interaction with early Spider-Man. Yeah. So they didn't even use that. I know seems to be back in the time those days, right? That I want to say continuity, but it's more like, oh, here's the pilot episode, and then the rest of the episodes you can watch in any order. Yeah,
because there's
nothing. One and two parts of something, right?
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter because we don't need to broadcast them out in
any sort of order. No.
Yeah, but then that's just a bit, Nowadays they don't really do that. At least, and as we know from Smallville, if there's a main story, then there's something like something else in the background.
Something in the background to sort of connect everything. Yeah.
So you don't need to necessarily watch everything in a particular order, but then. If it does, you kind of like get more out of it. Yeah, because
they'll reference it like, oh, well, this happened, but below, like, oh, okay, that's why they're doing this, not just.
Yeah, and sometimes something happens and they reference it, but we never actually see it on screen.
So it's the continuity keeps you going. But yeah, this from what I kind of gather from watching it, I reckon nothing ever was like. What how can I say? What's the word? Serious. But I can't remember what it is. I'm trying to look for a word. But it's nothing like sticks to glue. Yeah.
No, I was just wondering. I was like sitting in the dark and I was like, wait, something's wrong. And then I was like, oh yeah, gotta get the light. But that just reminded me of something else actually. I like how they did the spider sense here.
Yeah.
It's where the screen flashes blue and red. Like it went,
for Spider-Man.
I know they can't do a proper spider sense thing, right? But at least there's that sense of danger thing going on there. Even though sometimes he gets like flash forwards, as though his spider sense is as powerful as Scarlet Spider Kane's spider sense. Not King when he's Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
Clone King when he was
that gooey thing.
No, not the gooey thing. When he was degenerating.
Yeah. When he had like the weird like green veiny.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the spider potential to be that powerful that he can tell you the future.
Yeah, he's not a precog. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I did like how when he sensed danger, they kind of like gave the tweak on the screen where you're like, okay, this is a special effect, but not really a special effect, so we can do,
So we can get around it.
Yeah. A bit like when they were in Street Fighter and then reused the fireball in in the 1994 Street Fighter, and then you're like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What is this?
I give it to him for being creative, but.
Yeah. Well, to a certain degree,
yeah, exactly.
It's not even that creative.
no, that's the thing.
But it's something that is like, oh, we gotta signify something, and we don't have the effects for it, so let's just do.
Yeah. So I get it.
So you're saying you only watch? Okay, so you don't have too many memories of it back in the day, and you only watched a couple of episodes for this, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't watch the. So you watched the pilot movie.
Yep.
But not the 2 episodes that get put together that then are broadcast as a movie. You didn't watch those 2 movies.
I don't know, because the one I watched, it seemed like it was like one episode put into one. Where they were talking about making a bomb, and then they thought they were trying to frame Peter Parker for it because apparently he's the only person smart enough.
Yeah. I think that is that episode 1 and 2. Yeah. So that's not the pilot. I think that is actually episode. The hypnotist one was the pilot.
Yeah.
And then episode 1 and 2 is that one. Yeah. And then the third movie is when he goes to Hong Kong, China. I say quote unquote, but you know how it is.
He went to the back lot. Yeah.
He went to probably San Francisco, Chinatown, or somewhere afterwards. Like they just got the plane footage, and that's it.
That's hilarious. Oh.
But yes. So did you encounter? Okay, first of all, you saw J. Jonah Jameson, right?
Yes. And Robbie Robson.
Yes. So J. Jonah Jameson does not look like J.K. Simmons.
No.
He also does not look like J. Jonah Jameson from the comics either.
No. If anything, he looks a bit like Perry White from Superman and Lois. Not Superman and Lois, sorry. The Adventures of Clark and Lois Superman thing. Yeah, New Adventures Superman. Whatever it is, that show.
Yeah. Lois and Clark.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
I don't think... Wait, hold on.
I kind of got that vibe from him. No, he doesn't, but...
He got that vibe from him, but then...
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's got the mustache and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say Robert. Okay, so J. Jonah Jameson, I think he looked way too old.
Yes.
Even if you're going to say Jonah's meant to be 50, well, this guy is not 50. This guy is like...
He's like... Probably pushing 70.
Yeah, that's what he looks like anyways. If you're in the 70s, though, you age quicker.
Yeah, for he could actually have been 40. That guy could have been 40. There's the 70s where everyone just looks...
we were saying about The Flash, and Jay Allen, Flash's brother in the Flash TV series. He was 42, but he looked aged hard, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes, so Robbie Robertson looked young. So they took Robbie Robertson and added the extra age to J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, which confused me. I was like, they're meant to be in the comics roughly the same age, isn't it?
I would say, personally. We wouldn't know for sure, but yeah.
Or if anything, Jonah's slightly older than him, right?
Yeah.
But it just looked like, wow, you're like Jonah looked old enough to be Robbie's dad. You know what I mean? Like age-wise, like
grandpa even. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, and then there was the secretary, Rita something, right?
Yeah.
Who is not Glory Grant?
No.
And I'm like, but if you have Glory Grant, I do believe it existed. Look, if you don't use Betty Brant, fine, yeah. I get it because diversity, yeah.
Yeah.
And anyway, Betty Brant's meant to be the same age as Peter Parker.
Yeah. So
that means she started working when she was 15.
Yeah, which illegal. Yeah, but okay, sure.
In the 60s, fine, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I probably wouldn't slide now. But then if you aged up Peter to 24, whatever he is, then
you can kind of get
still be there. But
yeah,
they used someone else, and I guess it's more like Robbie appeared and then he never appeared again. I think.
No. I only saw him in a pilot episode. I don't remember seeing him ever in the other episode I watched.
I don't believe I saw him again either, right?
Oh.
And I get if he was older, because then you'd think this Rita character, what's her name? What's her first? I can't recall.
Yeah.
Let me Wikipedia. Oh, Rhea Conway.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might have thought that she was Robbie's daughter or something if you was
Yeah.
older, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough, but that's not even. They didn't even. Yeah. Anyways, they should have just. If they're gonna make Glory, someone equivalent to Glory Grant, might as well just call her Glory Grant. And
Yeah,
I don't know why they didn't do that. Oh no, but it probably didn't exist at the time. No, I think it did. If they're gonna have Robbie Robertson that young, they might as well have been Randy Robertson.
Yeah, made more sense. But then, you're right though. Did he exist at that time in the comics?
Yeah. Well, I can't recall. I can't recall because there's a period where Randy did exist,
and didn't.
Then it didn't exist for ages, and then he came back in the 2000s, and then now he's also non-existent again.
I think he's back now again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Whatever. It just seemed like they wanted more. I kind of want to say diversity, but also it's more like Rita was a bit more streetwise. And I don't necessarily mean that as
no.
She's cast because she's black. And
yeah.
But okay. Let me ask you something, right?
Yeah.
What's her name? That played Catwoman.
What in the recent
Zoe
one?
Kravitz.
Yeah.
I believe it's her, but I could be wrong. I'm misquoting. But so in the Dark Knight Rises, Anne Hathaway was cast as Catwoman there.
Yeah.
And I think Zoe Kravitz did try audition for it, but they said they were looking for. They said that she was. She said they said she was too urban. Okay, and she took it to mean
too black.
Yeah. Well, no, not too black, but just being black, right?
Yeah.
And I look. It's one of those things where you're like, did they actually mean that, or in this particular instance, the character of Catwoman is pretending to be a higher class, you know, but even though she's from the street, so it's got to be like you got to have that aura of I pretend to fit in,
but
while
even
not fitting in.
Like I would have she was auditioning for it, right? So she's 2 years younger than me, so she's 36 now, right? Dark Knight came out 2012, right?
Yeah.
So she would have been like early 20s-ish. So she's like realistically should look too young to be Catwoman and like Christian, but it's that for me. If I was cast like
Well, to be fair, I think she did. Oh, she did X-Men First Class just a year before, so
which you look like a child, but so it's I don't know.
But I think sometimes people look. I don't. You're not in the situation. You don't know at the time.
Yeah.
It might be the way that she took it, because the way the person was saying to her.
Yeah.
Might just meant that, or might not have meant that. But you can get more indication if you're.
Yeah.
If you're the ones, if you're hearing directly.
Yeah.
But anyways, in this case, she was more. Rhea Conway is more streetwise because they do the thing with Jameson where he's a what's it called? When you're penny pinching.
Oh, tire.
Yeah. But it wasn't that word that I was looking for. But yes. So then she has to forge a signature on a couple of things.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I don't remember signing that. And he goes, and she's like, oh, look, Jonah, that's why we're here to look after you, man. Because sometimes, look, you're old, and sometimes you do things that you forget. It's all right, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh yeah, maybe I did. The gaslit him good, right?
Oh, wow.
Maybe I did do that, And then Pia's like, how did you do that? I go, I don't remember him signing that. And then she's like, essentially, there's went from the streets, mate. Essentially,
don't worry about it. So like,
I'm like, all right, okay,
okay. I like your style. So, but I did like her. Like from what I saw of it, her and Peter's relationship, I did like that. It was kind of like she was looking out for him and things like that. I was like, oh yeah, I like that. You're.
Yeah, she had that a good attitude about her.
Yeah.
For practicality's sake, and then for like, there's work relationships with professional relationships, and sometimes you gotta they sometimes they merge and sometimes they separate, and you gotta call it as you see it.
Yeah, and I like that about it. I was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah. There was the other photographer lady, Peter's rival from the other newspaper.
Yeah, who he said was his sister.
I'm like, yeah. I think they just created a character out of wholesale. And I'm like, there's a whole bunch of women that existed at that time in Spider-Man. Hell, she could have just been Betty Brant,
Yeah.
She didn't have to look for it.
No.
I don't see why they couldn't. If they're not going to cast a character as the character, we just rename another character, and and if it's kind of the equivalent, I think people kind of let them all slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Betty Brant working for a rival newspaper as a photographer. All right. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Well, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But no.
I'm surprised they didn't use Deborah Whitman when they were in UCL, not UCL, Empire State University. What's the fake school that Peter goes to? Not the school, sorry, the university. It's Empire State University.
Empire State, yeah. ESU, yeah. ESU. Yeah.
I'm surprised one of his friends went, Deborah Whitman.
Yeah, why didn't they just do that?
And I think I said before that they did. So this series came out before the Clone Saga, but not the 1996 Clone Saga, yeah?
Yeah.
But not the Clone Saga 1974.
There's a Clone Saga?
The original Clone Saga, as they call it.
Well, maybe they thought it's not worth it. You know what I mean?
But yeah, there's an episode, there's a two-part, I think, is it a two-part episode? But Night of the Clones episode. And Peter Parker has to fight himself, which is like the Bizarro Superman sort of thing, where, in Superman 3. But, yeah.
Do you think they took inspiration from that for the 1996 Clone Wars? I mean, not Clone Wars.
Well, probably not, but I don't see why the professor, the guy doing the job, couldn't have been called Miles Warren. But then I guess during this time period, right? They didn't care about that. They didn't care about the nudge, nudge, wink, wink for the fans sort of thing. I think they when you're watching the I say superhero things, but comic book adaptations at this time, they don't exactly take the source material seriously.
No, because the general public didn't take it seriously, so they didn't take it seriously.
Exactly. So I'm kind of not surprised that they don't. There's no references or anything like that you're like, oh yeah, this, that, and the other when you watch it like 50 years later or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's just more like, oh, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? But then you're like, budget.
Yep. You always think like that's why. It makes sense, yeah. Budget, They ain't got the money.
I wouldn't say that like this is one of those things where you're like, all right, well, there's about 12 episodes. Might as well watch it all. Well, for me, for you.
Like,
is it the aesthetic of the 70s, and you're like, nah.
For me, like watching this reinforced my thing about I have like when it comes to things before a certain time period, I have like ADD. Well, I'm struggling to just watch it and keep like my brain on it. Like, oh.
Yeah. Well, okay. Between what you watched for Spider-Man, Japanese Spider-Man.
Yep, which was hard.
What did you have a better feeling for? As in, what would you have try to finish watching? This one or that one?
That one, because the ridiculousness is of it.
Yeah.
It's like
they
literally like for the Japanese one, right? It felt like someone just threw the Spider-Man costume out and said, "Okay, he's got the powers of a spider. Run with it," and they did that. That's how it felt.
I also want to clarify something as well, right? When we were speaking about Japanese Spider-Man before, now behind the scenes, right? I finished watching it in February.
Yeah, you finished watching months ago.
So I thought we were gonna do it in February, so I spam them all, right? But then you're like, oh yeah, you're gonna watch some of it. You're gonna try and watch all of it, and you didn't even finish doing that. But that took us from February all the way to May, and I'm like, stuff just seeps out. Especially since, like we were saying before, I watched all the Power Rangers and stuff to that point as well.
Yeah,
and then other stuff, and it's like you can't remember you can't record everything that goes on.
No, it kind of starts sinking into one. Yeah.
And then also we had the WrestleManias and the Daredevil and then all that other stuff in between.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. Now it's gonna get a bit tricky trying to remember all of that. Though I have to say for this is it's kind of I kind of want to knock this, but at the same time, I don't. I'm like, I don't want to remember this. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like this. It's just there.
Yeah.
That's the issue. There's nothing memorable about it.
No. Like,
yeah. If it didn't exist, wouldn't mad.
Like, it's one of those things with the Japanese Spider-Man, right? I always remember it because of its stupid, story going nowhere sort of thing, and like monsters just appearing, all that stuff.
And
right?
the emissary from hell.
Yeah.
The theme song. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bad guys, but with this, there's nothing. Literally, I'm pretty sure by the end of the week, I will have forgotten about this whole program again.
Yeah,
nothing
for sure.
memorable about it, sadly. Like, there's no. From again, I only saw limited things of it. There's no like stand-up performances, and it's like, you know what?
Yeah,
that guy should go on to do great things. It was like,
I think Aunt May only appears for like a handful of episodes, if even that. I don't even think she might not even appear after the pilot. I can't, you know. Yeah, there was so there was that episode, and I think it's Night of the Clones, where Peter Parker decides to go to a fancy dress party dressed as Spider-Man.
As you do, yeah. Anytime you can really get away with it.
Yeah, but that's what heroes do, apparently. Yeah. You dress as a character you are when you go to a fancy dress party. His Spider-Man costume zips up from the back, and so you know when you watch the Spider-Man movies with Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire, they take the mask off and it's around the neck area. Yeah. And it varies, by the way. Sometimes it goes to the upper torso, upper pecs, or sometimes it cuts off at the neck. So it's like, what? I could have different versions of the costume, but whatever, right?
Yeah, sure.
Here it's Nicholas Hammer's costume. He has the front half of it. He's got to pull over himself, because the helmet's attached to the thing, and I think it's where the back line of the red strip. Does he zip it across? I don't know how. All you see is him taking it off and taking it off, right? But you don't never see him zipping it up. Anyways, J. Jameson is also dressed as Spider-Man at that party, and Spider-Man did something, of course. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, it's him. Officer, it's him. He's the Spider-Man. He did it, right?" But J. Jonah Jameson's body is completely different from Nicholas Hammer's body, right? So you're like, and then they grab the Spider-Man mask and they pull it off his face, and J. Jonah Jameson's Spider-Man mask is like attached with buttons on top of his head. I don't know. They just pull away the face mask, and I'm like, all right. It's not like the whole face mask comes off. It's just the front bit. It's like, all right, that's
okay.
Yeah.
That makes little to no sense. Shouldn't Spider-Man's mask costume be more like that then? Because it would make more sense, right?
Who knows? Okay. Who knows about? Oh no. We'll say we could argue J. Jameson got one specially made.
Yeah, he has.
Even though he's not a super Spider-Man hater, because. Okay, so you know the backstory of Jameson in, I say, the 60s, right? Did you read them early enough Spider-Mans?
No.
So I know they tweak his character and they retcon certain things to make him. But back in the day when he was hating Spider-Man, he was like, he was doing this like his promo to himself, right?
Yeah.
About how he can't stand Spider-Man. This is in his office, and it's after work or everyone's gone home or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I think someone, he might have just had an argument with Pete or someone, right, about how he's hating on Spider-Man. He's like, get out of my office. Yeah. And he's like, I gotta, because in the 60s they didn't have the captions. Right? Yeah. So he's got to speak it to himself, so he had word bubbles.
Yeah.
I hate that Spider-Man. I hate him. I curse him because he's such a better man than me. There's a turn on the promo, and he's just like, I can never be a man like him. Therefore, I have to destroy him because he's better than he is what I should and want to be as a man, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But he's a hero, and I'll make him a menace, or something like that. Or he was saying about how John Jameson should be looked up to because he's a normal guy.
Yeah,
I think they tweaked that reasoning afterwards. But it's
which makes more sense.
As an astronaut, he should be having the headlines. Spider-Man's a punk in a costume that, you know, and then you get J. Jonathan being his superhero hater, except that he doesn't hate all other heroes.
Just Spider-Man.
Because just like the Lex Luthor thing, where
Yeah.
he's like, I hate the aliens, but actually I only hate that alien.
Yeah. But it's kind of like when you in the Marvel universe, it was like we love like the general public, we love superheroes, but we hate mutants. Like,
yeah.
okay, you hate mutants because they're born different, but then you're okay with people who gain powers.
Yeah. And if you're a superhero who has mutant powers, but pretend you're not a mutant,
yeah, like
then
Spider-Man.
you're okay.
Yeah,
right?
like okay,
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
All right, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, as Juggernaut's coming across to beat up the mutants, then is he a hero or is he a villain? Because
they think he's a mutant, they hate. It's again because they think Juggernaut's a mutant. Yeah, it's.
So he's like, you don't exactly. It's just that the mutant hate in the Marvel universe is so strong that they hate non-mutants.
Yeah, because that's the reason like why some people hate Spider-Man, because they don't know if he's a mutant, so they hate. Yeah, it's like okay.
Yeah. I was going to say that myself actually. Yeah. I was going to mention that. It's like some people think he's a mutant, but also as far as the comics goes, it's funny as well because they had that strip saying the most popular non-mutant superhero or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because he's a mutate. Yeah, you're not okay.
What did you think of the Spider-Man costume here?
They kind of explain why he has the web shooter gauntlet thing.
Yeah.
So like but the belt, I was like, that's a bit much. But then thinking about it now, without the belt, this costume would look even weirder. So yeah.
Well, the thing is, he either has the web shooters outside and the belt outside, or he has them both all inside. Yeah. Because you can't really. The costume doesn't work with one and the other.
Yeah.
No, on one or the other. It has to be kind of Yeah.
Which. Yeah. I don't know. Just because my modern Spider-Man and stuff, he doesn't have that, so he looks fine. But yeah, I think.
Yeah. You're one modern Spider-Man, but. Scarlet Spider has these on the outside, and I'm like,
but his costume's different, so it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like because you've always seen a costume like that. It's cool, but the other way around, like you've always seen it without it, and then stay like that stands out. Okay,
yeah. I do think as well in the comics, as to what we were saying about how some people think Spider-Man is a mutant because he's shooting webs out of his
out of his
wrist. Yeah, but then if the actual mechanisms, then he's like, oh well, he's not a mutant.
But then sticking on the walls, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all that weird stuff.
Which, by the way, might work out for Scarlet Spider because he has the mechanisms on the outside. Because no one says Spider's a mutant.
No, but I guess he doesn't get. I guess because he doesn't have also like the same rep as Spider-Man. Like not a lot of people in the Marvel universe probably know who he is.
Okay, hold on. Are you saying, right? I'm trying to put this all together, right? I'm not saying that you're. We're trying to retcon things back in the Marvel universe and try and make it make sense.
Yeah.
It's because Marvel universe hates mutants, as we established.
Yeah.
And Joe Jameson's hating on Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
So he's making other people hate Spider-Man with his propaganda.
Yeah.
Therefore, people are like 2 and 2 together. If we hate mutants and we hate Spider-Man, Spider-Man is a mutant.
Yeah.
All right.
And because he wears a mask as well, so it's probably not really one.
I mean, I want to say I get that train of logic, except that it's not. It's not one of those things where you're like, it makes sense because you make it make sense.
Yeah. Like most things, comics nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Yeah, this series. So you're not a fan of the web shooters on the outside look?
No.
Okay.
Or if anything, have
clunky, you think, or
no? Like if he had on both wrists, I think I'd be okay with it. Because just that one wrist, like that's a bit weird.
Doesn't he have it on both wrists?
No, just the one. Just the one. Like the Japanese Spider-Man. His
but his was different. His was like a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Attachment.
Which stabbed him with spider blood. But yeah. Still doesn't make any logical sense. Yeah. But
okay, what do you think of the eye lens things?
Didn't like it.
No. Well, okay. Of all the live action costumes, this is the worst, right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
because
yeah.
of the 70s, because they're all kind of. No, hold on a minute. To be honest, okay, so the Amazing Spider-Man costume from Andrew Garfield's first film, right?
Yeah.
The look of it was recognizably Spider-Man, but it wasn't a faithful adaptation of the Spider-Man costume.
Yeah. Which I get because that was when they're saying like he's starting out, so he's gonna have literally like a swim, was it? A scuba suit just painted. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
it's more like it was more like how the design was, because at least this one is more is. If anything, you can say is comic accurate.
yeah, to a certain
right,
extent.
to a degree.
Yeah.
And the Amazing Spider-Man costume for Andrew Garfield's one isn't comic accurate.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So
still will, but no.
yeah. But I can't say that this costume looks particularly great.
No, it aged terribly. I mean,
yeah, and I don't know if it's because of the bright color. I mean, bright colors is not the issue. Even I just say the sheen of the material. I don't know. There's something off key about it, right? And I think it's where it was made from.
Because even like that suit, right, makes the suit from Batman 66 look like awesome. You know what I mean? It felt like.
See, here's the thing. I think Batman 66, Batman at the time was slightly goofy, and they rolled with it.
Yeah.
This was kind of more serious-ish. Well, it definitely wasn't a comedy, right?
No.
But the costume, like, if this was silly, then I can accept the costume being the way it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just didn't. I don't know. So it might have been the eyes or the way they.
I think it's the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just took you out of it. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's just it was too bright and colourful for this.
Yeah.
They needed to maybe tone down the colour a little bit.
Yeah. It should have, because the colours are they stood out way too much.
Also, like I think the spandex material. So you know the Christopher Reeve Superman costume.
Yeah.
Was made of. I say spandex, but when light hit it didn't come off screen like it was super bright or anything like that.
Yeah.
This when I'm watching it, when wherever the lighting is, it's probably because like I said, you're saying it's a TV series. They have more natural lighting instead of the setups and all that stuff they do if it was a movie, right? But it just looked like it was I say not even a live action cartoon, because it doesn't look like that. It just looked like the costume looked out of place.
Yeah, it looked like
cinematography, I want to say, but yeah,
could be.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? It's funny enough. It looks like it's the same material that Dean Kane's costume was made of in Lois and Clark. But for some reason, he fit within the series that he was in with that costume.
Yeah, this stands out too much. It's not great. It also, like, this is a deep cut that I'm bringing it out of the bag. It made Daredevil's costume from the Incredible Hulk, the Trial of the Incredible Hulk, look better.
But okay, and you're bringing that up as well, right?
Yeah.
Instead of doing Spider-Man, if you're not going to do any Spider-Man villains, right? Then why didn't they just have done Daredevil?
Yeah.
Okay, you probably didn't have the popularity at the time, but that just means his license is cheaper, right?
Yeah, but I think as well, when you think about it, even to this day, right? You put Spider-Man's name on anything, even back then, it's gonna sell.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's pretty well.
I mean, Daredevil doesn't have the greatest rogues gallery either, right? No. So even if you were to make a Daredevil TV series in the 70s, who'd you be using? But if he's just fighting criminals, then it doesn't make a difference, does it?
Nah. Plus, I think they'd make it more of a law drama.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which would have been still fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we've got a taste of it in Daredevil Born Again, where the first
2 or 3 episodes in it was.
Yeah, exactly.
And I enjoy that stuff.
So, yeah. So Daredevil might have turned out all right.
Yeah, it could have. Yeah.
Though I think back in those days when it was bi-monthly.
Yeah.
Actually, was Frank Miller on it at the time? I think no. He started on it around 82 or something like that.
Yeah, 82. Yeah.
Yeah. So even then, they didn't have the. If they did do a Daredevil series back in this time, it would have just been like, oh yeah, we've got a license for a character, and we can.
Yeah,
do
we
what
have
we-
no idea
We can
what
do
we're doing.
what we want with it because no one knows who it is.
Yeah.
As in, there's no name recognition.
No, you can't ruin something that no one knows about. So
Yeah, exactly. Which oh no, but we haven't seen it yet. Doctor Strange, the 1979 movie, TV movie.
yeah, I keep seeing things about that, so I actually might.
Okay, so you're intrigued to. You're actually gonna watch that?
I'm intrigued to hate on it. Yes.
Okay. Fair. Would you also watch the? I think was it 2 Captain America movies of that time?
Yeah, I'll watch them. Because I remember the. Is it what? Wait. Oh no, I'm thinking of the other one where he throws up. He pretends to be sick against stuff. Did that come out in the 70s or the 90s? Isn't it?
Okay, there's one movie that came out in 1990.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Where describe something from it, and I'll see if I can remember. Because there's bits I do remember from it, but we're just gonna make sure we're on the same one.
The Red Skull's Italian, which makes no sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a 1990 movie. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Where oh my goodness, so they strap Captain America to the bomb, yeah?
Yeah.
And then he, just before he gets launched into wherever he's getting launched to, right, while the fire's going off, he grabs Red Skull's hand. So he's going to pull Red Skull up with him. And Red Skull, being an idiot, right, is like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to get away, right? So I won't chop off his hand, I will chop off my own hand. What? You deserve to get burnt your face then in that case, Red Skull, because you're an idiot.
It doesn't make sense. And it's one of those things, writer-wise, why would you think that's a good idea to put? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. No. But sure, all right.
Well, look, Nazis are designed to be hated, and he's a Nazi, and therefore he hates himself? Is that the logic we're going with?
Yes. I guess so.
But yes, there's 2 Captain America movies in the 70s where he has...
Is it the one where he looks like he's wearing a motorbike jacket and helmet?
Yes, that's the one. And where there's the shield is got white strips.
Yeah.
Red and white.
Yeah.
Except that when they put the shield on front of the motorbike, he has to be able to see through it. That's why it's transparent on those white bits. So it's red and blue and transparent, or whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And
makes
you're up for watching those 2 movies?
Yeah, I'm up for watching them.
Okay, so should we do? Oh, that because there's the 2 Captain America movies in the 70s, and there's also Doctor Strange in the 70s, right? So if we find another Marvel movie from that period, you're up for watching it before.
Yeah, I'll be up for it. Hopefully there's not another one.
Okay.
Hopefully there's not another one. But yeah, I'm up for it.
All right. Well, it might end up being Howard the Duck at that point because no, did we already do Howard the Duck? No, we haven't.
I don't think we have.
Okay. I was 82, but
yeah, still sort of within that period.
Yeah. Well, if we find okay, we'll have to slip Howard the Duck in there in between if I can't find something else that's a Marvel movie from the 70s.
All right. Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
That's what I remember from it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But back to the series. Yeah. Okay. So you what you did watch, you wish you didn't. Oh no. Okay. You wish you didn't waste the time watching.
No. I'm quite happy I've experienced this. It's something different.
Okay.
It's not the greatest of greatest things, but it satisfied my curiosity about it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's,
all right. And you didn't need to see any more than you did see. That's what you're also saying. Okay. Well, let me just say, you aren't missing much. I think the only time you encounter someone with abilities is there was an episode where there was ghosts, but they weren't ghosts, right? But so that's something else, right? But there was also an episode where this guy was telekinetic, and you know how it is, right? Back in those days, where you're like, oh, you know what we could do to simulate telekinesis? Off screen, we'll just throw something.
Yeah.
Right? Like how in Star Wars, A New Hope.
Yeah.
Force is telekinesis, but it isn't really.
No.
It kind of is. And we can easily get strings or whatever, just pull the box across and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. Okay. What exactly is the Force? Well, we'll work that out as we go along.
We'll work that out 30 years later. Yeah.
I mean, it's not just telekinesis.
No. It's other
even though-
stuff.
Yeah. But we at the time period where we didn't have any budget.
No, it was that.
Yeah. So he had to. So Spider-Man had to encounter some guy who had telekinesis, and that was basically As far as because otherwise they're all gangsters and stuff like that. So it's not.
Which kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Would have thought like, I don't know.
Would have thought a lot of things.
No, but what I mean is, like, there's some stuff you can kind of be more creative with power-wise. Like, I suppose if they were to use Electro, they could have just animated the electric shocks, the electric ability. Yeah, as in drawing it on screen like old school. I know. Okay, this is too far back for you, so I know you haven't seen, right? The Kirk Allen Superman.
Yeah, too far back for me.
Where they instead I watched clips where he's running along, and when he needs to fly, he turns into a literal animated cartoon.
Oh yeah.
But let's just say Spider-Man's fighting Electro, right?
Mm. Yeah.
And you can do you can do animated Thunderbolt or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Kind of people let that slide, that sort of power.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. So, by the way, saying that, I know Undertaker and Kane have lightning abilities, right?
Yeah.
But supposedly, I'd say in the arena, okay. So there was one bit where Kane set a cameraman on fire.
Yeah, with lightning.
That we saw on screen, right? They lift his hand and then the electric shock came out, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if he has these abilities, why doesn't he use it?
Why does he wrestle? Yeah.
Supposedly, the people that are watching it live, he just mimics the action. No, they don't see like a thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Right? They just see the camera and go on fire, whatever it is. Yeah. And I was thinking at the time, they just probably have some like a wire attached to his glove that's then attached to the camera, so they can run an electric current through it, and then you can see it. But no, they animate it in.
Yeah, because I thought that's one of the things that I clocked onto when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, even this can make me sound really stupid. Before, like, I was still on the fence whether wrestling was not real or not by that point, right?
Yeah.
But even when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's blatantly like an effect added on afterwards, because there's no way you can sort of do that. Yeah. I don't know why my brain came to the logic of that first before like putting a nail on the head saying like wrestling's predetermined and fake. Yeah, but
hold on. Let me just backtrack a little bit there.
Yeah.
Okay, so people say wrestling is fake, right? Which I think that's not the right term.
It's not the right term for it.
But if you say it's not real, that's different.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of there's things that are not real, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're fake.
Yeah.
I think that people just be
performative.
Be like, you mean not real? You mean fake? But no, that's not.
No. That's wrong term with you. Yeah, but like it's weird that I realized that wasn't real before I found that. Before I thought wrestling was completely not real. Yeah. But like.
Actually, funny enough, I go on because I was going to relate wrestling back to this show because there is something. But I'll let you go first if you can.
No, I was going to say like. So it's weird that they couldn't just do that for that show, like, or get him to fight people who they could easily recreate their powers without having a high budget. Like we said before,
I mean, if for example, if they were using Electro and Electro's costume might look silly, you just don't have him in the costume.
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx didn't even wear the costume,
No.
So, and that was years later where they could make it look good.
Yeah. They modernized it to actually look realistic. Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense what he's wearing. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah. Even yes, both versions, the Amazing Spider-Man version and the No Way Home version, they're like, okay, yeah, that's a good way of doing it, rather than whatever spots coming off his face.
Yeah. Well, actually, even the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
The electric kind of the electric shape.
Yeah, it's around his head.
The powers giving him the illusion of his costume.
Yeah, would make more sense. But,
so. This have you seen Arachnaman in WCW?
Yes, the gold and purple Spider-Man. Yeah.
That's...
Oh, geez.
How would you compare his costume to the costume here?
I feel like they put more effort into that one. If I want to, like,
I was gonna say they look relative the same. I don't know if I'd say that one's better.
No, I wouldn't say it's better.
The WCW one was better only because the color looks off key.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, like they put more effort in it because of the color being off key, but it's still, they're both still terrible.
Yeah.
Both nightmare
It seemed like use a Xerox of the Xerox.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And then you're like, oh, this is Timu India knockoff version.
Yeah,
or something like that,
something like yeah. Oh,
which is funny because in Ultimate Spider-Man, they did the storyline. Not the previous Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
They did that storyline where they were filming the Spider-Man movie, and there was. I think they did 2 versions of the same comic because they did one with Arachnaman as well.
Okay,
Yeah, as in, you know, they had the exact same comic, just tweaked the artwork so it was Arachnaman.
Okay,
yeah. Because I'm not sure why they did that for some reason. They did.
Trying to be too meta, innit? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then I think he was green and orange, maybe.
That's such a weird color scheme.
I think maybe I'm off.
No, I think you might be right, but that's in my head.
There was in Invincible. What was the color of there was a Spider-Man knockoff there because they couldn't do the episode. They couldn't do the
crossover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. No, I think he looked kind of tactical.
Yeah. He was different.
Yeah.
What was he called? Colonel? Was he Colonel Spider? Captain Spider? I don't know.
Something. It was something along the lines that they could say without getting sued. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was. Yeah. Forgot now.
And you're saying? I mean, I wanted Nicholas Hammond to make an appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home, and you're like, nah, that guy does not need to be there.
No one have got it. No, like.
Yeah, exactly. He's way too old for first.
Yeah. And then the 4 people get like, yeah, we saw that guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Me being one of the 4 people.
Yeah. It's like when you get that random run-in from like an old wrestler no one knows, and we're like, it's this guy. You're like, who?
Yeah.
Who?
The unfortunate Brian Christopher pop as well.
Yeah. It's like you're facing this guy, and he comes out, and you're like, Rikishi, because of the music. Like, that's not right. That's not him either. Wait. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. And look, credit to the guy. He did the full-on entrance with the shovel and the funny crab walk thing.
Yeah.
And he kept on going.
Yeah.
Even though there was no reaction.
No reaction, just crickets.
Like, this guy, it's get to the point, but I'm like, he's a full professional because he just went. He didn't even stop. He didn't let the non-reaction get to him.
Yeah.
Even though if it was me or you or like, I don't know, other people would have just probably stopped and just carried on as normal.
Yeah, like, okay, they don't know who I am, so I'm going to carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he went full on into it, so I give him that. Like,
yeah.
He's a better man than me. Better man than me.
Yeah, so, okay. Actually, funny enough, Charlie Cox was telling a story of when he went to the cinema to watch Spider-Man No Way Home with his wife.
Yeah.
Because he was hearing that he had his Daredevil was going to be in it. Obviously, he knew he was being, but he wanted to go in the cinema because he was hearing people giving good reactions for his appearance. Yeah. To sneak in to watch it that one time so he can experience himself.
Yeah.
Dead silence.
Like, oh.
Yeah. He was like, oh no.
See, for me in a cinema, because when I went, there was only like 7 other people in there, so like everyone was like, it's him, and then that was it.
yeah, but at least that's something, right? Imagine you going to see your film with yourself in it.
Oh, and then no one.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would have been more embarrassing if you got up, turn around, and give a bow, and then was like, sit down. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was just an unfortunate screening from that point.
Yeah.
Because he's a really popular Daredevil. Well, yeah, there's only 2 other Daredevils, and they're clearly not as popular as him.
Well, one is. The other one.
Well, no, that's a Daredevil character. Yeah? I'm not talking about the actors.
Yeah, that's about.
Yeah, Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah.
You're speaking of, yeah.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say, like, there's probably a reason why, other than the divorce with Jennifer Garner, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason why Ben Affleck's Daredevil. I would have liked Daredevil to make an appearance in Deadpool Wolverine, but you know.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
And I feel like they could have got Thomas Jane back as well to make an appearance. But as far as Punisher going off to do stuff himself, he would do so. Kind of in character to do that. Yeah.
See, I'm still holding out hope that we might see Ben Affleck randomly return as Daredevil for like a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Randomly to the side tangent of this, right?
Yeah.
So if it was Thomas Jane Punisher and Ben Affleck Daredevil, it like when they do the multiversal crossover, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say their Punisher and their Daredevil were in the same universe. Would they have the same relationship that Charlie Cox and John Bernthal have as Punisher and Daredevil?
Probably not.
Would that dynamic would be different?
I think so.
Okay.
Because I don't know. I feel like Thomas Jane's Punisher is more like just straight to the point, sort of, and John Berthel's one's like unhinged. I mean, like,
okay, yeah.
To a certain point, he's unhinged to a certain point.
I'll counter argue there, right?
Yeah.
John Bernthal comes in there to kill people straight up. Yeah? No mucking about.
Yeah.
Thomas Jane, he was meant to kill one person in this film.
Yeah.
And it took him so long to do that.
But he's more like, I'll say his one was more strategic because like the whole thing where he plans the whole end of the film, doesn't he?
But we're not here. Like you said, this is vengeance, this is punishment, right? But no, just go and kill him because that's what Punisher would do. It's not like a master plan or anything like that.
I know. That's why I kind of liked it because it wasn't just like Punisher Warzone to me, terrible film, right?
It's entertaining though. I will tell you that, right? You want to see parkour people get shot by grenade launchers.
Yeah, but it's only entertaining the first time you watch it, and you're like, after it's like, this film is stupid.
Oh, it's true. It's true. I don't know about the rewatchability of it. Yeah, it's like this. There's parts of it that are serious, and there's parts of it that are overly comedic.
Yeah. And like, I kind of like the whole, because like this is my. We'll go back to the Spider-Man after this, right? The reason why I like the Punisher with Thomas Jane, right? The whole story, because it's like they took away his whole family, so he's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna plan a way so your whole family is gone as well. So I liked how he made them basically all turn sort of against each other, killed people, and all that. That's why I kind of like. That's a good story. But I get what you mean. He's Ultimate Punisher. No, he's not Ultimate Punisher because Ultimate Punisher's a weirdo. But
yeah.
Where is he? Carry on. Sorry, no, I was trying to think about Ultimate Punisher.
And funny enough. Speaking about the Punisher, see, we're gonna wrap this together, even though it's not any intention. We're gonna retcon that conversation into this conversation.
Yeah.
Punisher did exist, 1974.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So they could have had the Punisher in this series. They could, if they're gonna have the people killing gangsters, right? But they could have had the guy who's going killing the criminals, right? And then Spider-Man has to apprehend him. So technically, you could have worked Frank Castle into this. No, but what I'm talking about is if he's fighting criminals.
Yeah.
Have appearances of characters that could exist in this world without using budget.
Yeah, but I feel like 1970s wasn't ready for the Punisher. Especially like this show's aimed for families, right?
Wait. Yeah, okay, yes. No.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a division here, right? You are right, because if he is in this, he would have to be neutered to the level that he's shooting, and then runs out of the room or whatever it is, and then you see the bodies that are on the floor with no blood marks on them, but you know they're dead, right? Or something like that. Yeah, they have to do it where you don't see the blood-shots, whatever. You know, the standard edit before the thing happens, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you say the 1970s weren't ready for the Punisher, but we had Dirty Harry at that time, so
yeah, but that's Dirty Harry. Like, they're not ready for like a comic book character to be serious.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like,
fair enough.
That's.
Do you think then, if for some reason they decided they were going to make a Punisher film in the 70s-ish, right? Not the Dolph Lundgren one, which is in the like late 80s,
right? Early 90s, probably. Yeah.
And they gave it the Dirty Harry vibe. Could it have worked? Or would you think they would have went the other route, where it's like, this is it's a comic book film that is bloody violence, and therefore we dislike it because it's too far in that direction.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be a lose-lose situation. I don't think there's a way you could have spun it to be popular. If that makes sense.
Okay, fair. But you talk about this if they were to make a Punisher movie in the 70s specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I think later on they could have kind of got around it, but then if they made it in the 80s, properly in the 80s, I'm not talking about Dolph Lundgren, right?
Yeah.
It would have been, the 80s went through something where everything was like hyper violent, i.e., like Robocop. Yeah, and I think that would have kind of buried the Punisher as well. If that makes sense.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I mean, I get what you say, because sometimes what it is like what's it called? When you got the B movies.
Yeah.
And he's got a certain level of exploitation or whatever it is. Like.
Yeah.
It's like there's Bruce exploitation and black exploitation and all that stuff. Yeah. So you got a company like I don't know what they would have done but like you said, there's some movies in the 80s where they're like, oh yeah, blood and violence.
Yeah. You're like, great.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and
nothing else really.
And I think that may have killed like the MCU before it even started if they did that. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's true. It's true. It's true. We agree that during this period that they didn't take comic book characters seriously enough for their. But the Incredible Hulk was fine.
Yeah, because that's like a melodrama sort of thing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's true. It's about a guy with a condition that he's trying to heal himself from. And then he's trying to stay. I say away from the.
Yeah, he's always. So he's always like.
Police could have been the army.
Yeah.
Could have done it with Thunderbolt Ross, and it still have been the same, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like. It was basically like The Fugitive with a guy who would at the end of the episode turn green and run away. Yeah, that's basically what. So it kind of worked, but I don't think. You could have done anything like Spider-Man wasn't going to work, obviously, because Spider-Man's something you need budget for.
Yeah. But if they did Captain America, I'm not talking MCU Super Soldier Captain America. I'm talking about like the peak human condition Captain America, classic MCU abilities. They could have. You don't think there would have been?
No, because what would he do?
Goes around
doing what?
I guess at the time.
But like. Unless it was set in the 40s, like I don't get how he doesn't. It's weird, right? Because Captain America doesn't really deal with like street level stuff. So how do you sort of?
Okay, yeah, okay, what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, how do you sort of do that around him? Yeah.
Well, you can make it a spy adventure series. Look, they have stuff like Mission Impossible. They had the A-Team at that time.
Yeah.
I'm not quite, they got the Saint and stuff like that. Which okay, they're not exactly the same, yeah. But you have some like instead of going for the fantastical element of Captain America, you could put him like give him the James Bond vibe instead, ish.
Then you could just do Nick Fury.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's certain characters you can't do these sort of small things with because how they're presented in the comics. If you like, their key element is them being like larger than life or whatever. So to bring it down, like you must just give me.
It is actually, you got a fair point. I'm just thinking of budget limitations. So if you like, if you can't do certain things, you don't do them, and if you just get a character that can do them instead, like more street level based. I mean. They do the Luke Cage TV series on Netflix, which is fine.
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 80s, could they have done it? I think they still could have done it because
I think with Luke Cage they could have. Yeah,
it's just you got to have strength, but you do that with practically as well.
Yeah, because even like
it has to do bullet shots and stuff.
Yeah,
they'd have to just have the bullets bounce off him, and
yeah.
But then again, in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s, you could just imagine if they did a Luke Cage TV series,
he'd be so racist.
Yeah. No, I wasn't gonna go. No. he would be stereotypical written white people were written black people at the time.
Yeah. So it's like,
which yes, it would have come across angry black man, and you're
like, do we need this?
I mean,
no.
No, especially since he like the Luke Cage backstory where he broke out of jail and stuff. I mean, stuff like it's a bit coming from a bad direction already.
Yeah. So maybe I don't even know.
Oh, okay. Forget the backstory of it, right? Do you think that they could have done it? I'm talking about the practicality of doing a series with someone of his abilities.
Yeah, I think that you probably got around with that because
at that time.
Yeah, because you done it with the Hulk, so you probably can do it with him.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Do you think they would have to depower Luke Cage a little bit?
Probably. But then I'll probably just into it.
No, because I think logically speaking, Luke Cage, if they'd done it at the time, do you think they would have got a black bodybuilder? By the way.
Yeah, or Mr. T. Yeah.
Because look, Mike Coulter's quite a big guy, but he's not built as big as Luke Cage is drawn.
No. That's true.
So, but do you reckon if they did a Luke Cage series in the let's just say the late 70s, early 80s, they would have probably got a black bodybuilder, yeah?
Yeah. Who couldn't act? Yeah.
He would have been massive. He would have been massive, and his probably his powers and abilities would be relative to the TV version of the Incredible Hulk at that time, right?
Yeah.
Because that Hulk wasn't that super strong either.
No.
He wasn't bulletproof as well.
Yeah. So, But then they probably would have done it because then people would think it's doing the black version of the Hulk, innit? So yeah.
Which, by the way, I don't know. I'm sure you remember it from the Ultimates. Tyrone Cash.
Oh yeah, where? Yeah. I was about to say that there is a black Hulk, isn't it? Yeah. Which we'll be getting onto at some point soon. Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. I don't know if I'm not looking forward to it or actually looking forward to it. I don't know where I'm at with that.
Yeah. God.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. But we're talking about street level. Like, okay, could they have done Iron Fist?
Yeah, I could have done Iron Fist.
They did do Kung Fu at the time, remember?
Yeah. So they could have done, but then you got Kung Fu. Yeah, it's one of those. It's a lot of the stuff is it had a sort of like thing similar to it at the time on TV anyway. So they've just been like, you're doing a cheap knockoff of.
But isn't that what usually happens where people find a good TV series and they're like, and then another studio's like, we'll just do a knockoff version of that, and therefore we have our version of that.
Yeah, but I don't think that's something they didn't start doing to like say the late around this time, late 70s to now.
I think super shameless. Like there was The Walking Dead, and then there was Z Nation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. You got me there, pal. You got me there.
Yeah, but hey, look, that's yeah, and also like something like early Supernatural. See, Supernatural didn't have all their mystical, magical, budget-busting villains early in the series. They had low-key kind of urban legend villains.
Then,
so
you can do more practical effects with
that's why I'm. Do you think that when they got the Spider-Man license to make the TV series, they just was like, it's Spider-Man. People know about Spider-Man. We could get good ratings maybe with it. Yeah. And that was that. And they just didn't bother about anything else that's to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like
cash in. Yeah.
We're getting money from two sides, so hey, we don't care. From this country and in Japan, hey. So.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
and you're telling me you're not rating Nicholas Hammonds acting as. Not necessarily Peter Parker, but as the character of Peter Parker within the series.
It was okay.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing special.
All right. No standouts to you whatsoever. In fact, you're just like, everyone is fine for the roles they've been in. Adequate, whatever. Then nothing notable.
Nothing notable. Nothing sort of stood out.
It's true. I can't hardly disagree with you on any of this.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's because it was done in the 70s.
Yeah.
Because, look, William Shatner overacts, right, in Star Trek.
Yeah.
So you remember him, and you remember Spock as well.
Yeah.
But But yeah, as Leonard Nimoy as Spock. But yeah, here you just kind of like,
everyone's done their role, sort of thing. Like,
there's a dude like, even if you say Christopher Reeve as Superman, at least there's a certain level of acting where he's Superman and where he's Clark Kent.
Yeah.
But Nicholas Hammond is as Spider-Man. He's not as quippy as Spider-Man is, right?
No.
To be fair, actually, okay, if I had to rate his Spider-Man, because I don't think Peter Parker is kind of like an older Peter Parker, so he's not immediately comparable to the other live action versions of because they have more to do, because I say they're teenage kids, but they have more interactions and stuff like that, right? They're not dealing with his Peter Parker's like, I want to say 10 years older than their Peter Parkers.
Yeah.
So he's already gone through that stuff or whatever, right? So there's a certain level of maturity they have not hit yet, apparently. As far as the Spider-Man goes as well, it's look, I don't know. Not that Tobey Maguire is a bad Spider-Man, but his Spider-Man doesn't say anything. He's just too silent.
Yeah.
And the one joke he did crack was not good whatsoever. Where he was saying to when Green Goblin's like, "You're out, Spider-Man," and he's like, "You're the one who's out, Gobby, out of your mind." I'm like, just go back to being silent.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that, right? It's just, I saw the other day, right? Some people saying like, "Yeah, that's their Spider-Man," and I felt back like, it's only because you're young. He was young when he came out, but watch these films now. Like you said, as Spider-Man, his quips and stuff is like, you literally look like you are reading lines of paper. When he quips as well, which is rarely. Yeah, like with Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, it sounds natural, right? Yeah, but it sounds
funny enough. They're the ones with the British accents.
Yeah, exactly. His one just seems literally like he's reading off a script, like, and he didn't want to read it. Sort of thing. It's like, but hey, I don't know.
Yeah, I will say this Nicholas Hammond Spider-Man, he's not exactly a jokester either.
No.
Even though at the time they did have the material that he was, being whatever, saying the stuff that he was saying, but yeah.
To me, he always kind of felt like he felt like a pushover as well when he was
Spider-Man as
Peter Parker. Well, actually, I get is sometimes they do him with in the comics, but I don't feel like it felt too much for me.
I will say as well, how old is he in the comics right now? Supposedly,
I want to say like late 20s.
I say that feels about right, but you know how it is with comic books.
Yeah, right? I'm saying he's no older or younger than 25.
Yeah. And you're saying that still now he's a bit of a pushover?
No, I say now he's more of a backbone because he's like being a CEO and stuff like that. So he has to have that sort of.
Now he can't get hired because they think that he wasn't. When Dr. Octopus took over his body, and he became this, and then now they're like, well, but you used Dr. Octopus in your body wrote all those essays and whatever he did, his thesis and stuff, and we recognize it's the same writing style as Otto Octavius. Therefore,
plagiarism.
Even though he's like, well, how can he argue otherwise? Because he's like, well, no, he took over my body and blah blah blah.
And they're like, so you're Spider-Man. Well,
and then lose all my company and stuff like. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is just like one of those things where you're like, dude is a scientist, yeah?
Yeah.
Which means, by the way, he had the potential to do all of that regardless.
Yeah.
Never did.
No. He is someone who had all the potential and kind of kind of squandered it, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, he had to save the world and stuff. So.
Yeah, but I would have thought that this older version of Peter Parker would have been more. Like he's got his job as a photographer and he's got his job as a scientist, sort of thing. You know, that little that balance. And then you could have had the interdrama of, do you go to do this or do you go to do that? Like what? Not necessarily more important, but then how does it conflict with each other? You know, if you got to go off to take photos for the thing because it makes you money, or the scientist job. There's things that I feel they could have done within the series to make it a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
And they just kind of like, nah, people watch it because it's Spider-Man.
It's like that's how you get them in the door, but you need to keep them. Yes, it's that, isn't it?
Exactly.
But,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. That's why. Yeah. I mean, would I recommend people to watch this? Well, it's only 12 episodes.
Yeah.
But
even then, it's too much.
I feel like you just watched it, right? If watch the pilot and then make up your mind from there.
Yeah.
And then if anything, if you want to watch the movies that are the two parts that are put together, fine, right? But it's just going to be more along those vibes.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Nothing special.
Nothing special.
Nothing amazing, quote unquote, even though it's the title of the thing. So
yeah.
I don't even know if I say I wish it was more actually necessarily comic accurate, but I don't even know if nowadays you could do a Spider-Man TV series with all the types of villains. I mean, look, but they did the Flash, so
yeah. But they could, but then it have to be like one of the Marvel, like Disney Plus sort of TV shows. You know what I mean? To justify it.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, because there's no way you could do a 24 episode series of Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, you could probably do like a 6 to maybe 10, like Daredevil Reborn.
Yeah.
But then
once again, you call it Reborn, even though it's
Born Again
all the time.
I know it's stuck in my head. Yeah.
By the way, be pathetic to correct you. It's just like it's like you've done it multiple times, and
you know, it's just in my head now. And you know what? Even when I think of like the banner of it, I see Daredevil Reborn, not Born Again.
RE:born, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason.
That's the Mandela effect on me. But yeah, that's the only way you can sort of do it. And then a lot of it wouldn't be him in a it could be him in a suit, but it wouldn't be really him like fighting, unless it's a villain that's not that CGI heavy.
Yeah. I mean, would if it was up to you, would you do it like the Superman and Lois TV series, where it's like one storyline running through the entire thing?
Yeah, like him trying to pass an exam, and then all this other stuff is happening. You know, like I'll make it like kind of simple, but other things going on, not like something complicated. Like Aunt May has got this. It's something simple and just.
Aunt May's on her 9th heart attack, but then she somehow, she hooks up with J. Jonah Jameson's dad, like 105 years old and whatever.
Yeah. See, the one thing.
Okay.
Oh,
go on. No, you go first.
Because like I'm gonna say it's a spoiler, but the game's been out for like 8 years at this point. Like the one thing, actually, I love the game. Marvel Spider-Man on the PS4, right? I like that because something happens to Aunt May, which I've thought, they've never done that in any media. Good on them.
No, they have. And then she came back.
No, I mean, besides the comic, I mean, like in like entertainment media, they did something like, they've never done that in any of the films or TV shows or any cartoons. I was like, okay, you went.
No. I think in No Way Home, she also.
Yeah, but this came out first.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so they took it from that. Yeah.
Right.
Plus.
Yeah. And I was going to. Oh damn! What was I going to? Okay. Did you like at least that Spider-Man was not in high school? Peter Parker was not in high school during this series. At least that's something different.
Yes, that's the only thing I was like, that's something I haven't seen in forever.
And that's probably the only thumbs up. Like, he's an active photographer. That is his actual day job. That is his professional job.
Yeah.
That is it. Right?
Yeah.
That's all we can give the series.
Yeah, literally, that's the only thing you can give him. Besides that, it's all the same old tropes of Spider-Man.
All right, then as we're going to be signing off soon.
Yes.
What are you thinking might happen in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Like, do you reckon they're going to take bits of the actual of the comic series, or do you think they're just going to be like, we just took the title and that's that, nothing else?
I think just the title and obviously the mind wipe thing. Literally, that's the only thing I reckon they're going to take from it.
Yeah.
And make it something new. Because like I think because of Brand New Day, it's got like a mixed perception of it. Like some people enjoyed it, some people did enjoy it, but hated what came before it, which made them not like it. You know what I mean?
The other thing with Brand New Day is I think most of it could have been done still with the marriage still intact.
I don't
Like,
know.
obviously, you'd have to change certain things that have removed it, yeah. But I don't think any of those stories that were done couldn't have been done without him being married, anyways. Like,
Yeah, like they could have, because then you wouldn't get the whole Carly. I can't remember her surname.
Carly Cooper.
Yeah, you like that whole story plot would have to be dropped, and that's a big part of.
I don't know about Carly Cooper and all that other stuff. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like again.
Well, okay. Did you actually like? To be fair, and I'm gonna say, I started collecting Brand New Day when it came out, and then when it's like, because it's like 3 times a month, and I was like, no.
Yeah, like...
I'll get it to a certain point, and then I'll drop it because it's just getting too expensive.
Yeah, like most.
At least when it was Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and there was a 5th title of Spider-Man at one point as well. Untold Tales or whatever. Probably. At least you could skip the other ones and just get the one that you're going for. That was that.
Yeah. But it was Amazing Spider-Man all the time, wasn't it? Yeah. Because I jumped on Brand New Day like halfway through.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I would have started reading it.
Wait, hold on. Did you see Jack Pocket Menace before you joined, or was that after?
I was after. Yeah.
After you joined?
After I joined. Because I think I was coming near the end where, you know, when they reintroduced Eddie Brock.
No, that might be afterwards.
Yeah, I think it would have been afterwards. Because I joined back then, and then I went back and read bits of Brand New Day. Yeah, because I didn't get to read. I read Gauntlet and stuff like that afterwards. Like,
I didn't even get that far. What I remember is that there was the one comic where Flash Thompson is coming back from Iraq, wherever he is, doing his soldier days, right? Because we went to the army, and he had to he saved his fellow cohorts, soldiers, whatever. Civilians, I don't know. I didn't read the story. And he lost his legs.
Yeah.
Right? But he was like, because I think he was trying to get an explosive out. I can't remember. But he's like, what would Spider-Man do? Because he was a big time Spider-Man fan, right? And then he lost. I think he probably jumped on the bomb with his bag or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He lost his legs. It was fine. But then you're like, there's a couple of stories before. What would Spider-Man do? Well, he would sell his wife to the devil. So kind of, But
then, remember the twist was he didn't actually do it. It was MJ. So
yeah, but that's just to throw her under the bus because they're like, well, look, as a Spider-Man comic, Peter Parker has to be in it, right? MJ doesn't have to be in it, so let's just let's just assassinate her character. If anyone could absorb the hate, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, what? No, you shouldn't be writing people like this anyways. But I'm not to say, by the way, the Spider marriage is blah blah blah, and I'm the one and only, whatever. It's just you don't make characters look bad.
I don't know. I feel like you can because you can always redeem them. You know.
I know but you're talking about characters that are bad people, right?
No, even good people. You can always redeem them.
I don't think that's I think they just like threw MJ into the fire just because they were like, we got a franchise. Look, the comics can survive without her.
Yeah, they can because she's not the greatest woman. Yeah.
No, but it's just like you don't need to. It's like I don't know if you read it, but you remember not Captain Marvel, what's her name? Binary. No, was it Binary? No, Carol Danvers. What's the other? Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
And she was the leader of the Avengers for like a hot second, right?
Yeah.
And then they decided Captain America would come back and be the leader of the Avengers.
Yeah.
It could look like a jabroni.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't need to do that. You could have just transferred her to be the leaders of another Avengers group.
Yeah, well, is what it is. You know, it's sad.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Here's the thing. Also, actually, you'll find this funny because we can backtrack to certain other things, and I'm not piling them on you to make you look bad on me.
Yeah.
You said because you're more of the opinion there's more leeway and leniency. When I say, for example, like we were saying about wrestling, the TNA shouldn't be making their champion lose in 2 minutes, and you're like, you know what? It's kind of,
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what our perspectives are, So it's not just for this, by the way. It's for other things that we're kind of like.
But
you,
then
you give it a bit more leeway, and I'm like, you need to be a bit more consistent. Like, not you.
no,
The
I mean, but like they,
characters and how the writing needs to be a bit more consistent with
But
those particular characters.
what I would agree with you with though is like, which is into your argument as well. Like, it's like if they did those choices with a male character, it'd be like people would be fine with it. It's really weird. Like some people be, but once they do it with a woman character, you know, people just pile on it like, oh, blah, blah, she's rubbish anyway. It's that sort of other thing, like you were saying, the Monica Rambeau thing. Like you said, they should have transitioned her off rather than just throw her away and not being seen forever. And then people are like, yeah, well, she was a terrible anyway. Like, but you wasn't saying that when she was in the comics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's that weird double standard. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And what we will also do, I know, because we're gonna work out where we can watch it, right?
Yeah.
But there was the episode, the Supergirl season 2, where Superman makes the appearance on the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes. And she beats him up, right? And you're like to me, well, it's her show.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah.
But I want you to actually see the damage. I want you to see how it is, and then maybe, I don't necessarily, this is going to force you to change your mind or anything like that. But just like, it might be like, okay, maybe they could have come up with a better execution of the plan rather than what they did do.
No, I'll see it, but like I kind of compare this to, right, going back to sort of wrestling. It's like when Kenny Omega went to Impact and beat Moose.
Which one?
He beat Moose as well.
He won the title. Oh, he beat both.
Yeah.
I thought Rich one had the title at the time.
Yeah, he won the title. Yeah, because Moose was the number 1 contender. He beat Moose, and he beat Sami Callihan as well. But like, it's actually that's a bad comparison.
Okay,
bad comparison. No. I'll go back.
I will say, that instance, I will agree with you of how and why they did it. First of all, it's pandemic, so they need more eyes, right? That was more like, I want to say that was a shock value crossover thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, let's spike ratings for all of us because we're not getting ticket sales.
Yeah.
So we have to, we'll make money from the ads.
Yeah.
You know? Which I think that's a good booking choice. But then they tried to put over okay. Realistically speaking, Kenny Omega should probably lost them to Josh Alexander, right? But they had their other storyline go to Hangman Page, so they couldn't really do that too. I think Christian was a good second choice to pass on because he had more relation to TNA when he was there.
Yeah, he did, but again, I don't know.
Even that Hangman Page should have won the title of the AEW title off of Kenny Omega, and then Kenny Omega can lose to Josh Alexander. When he had the TNA title. Yeah. You couldn't have. You have to pay off one story that's on your main show, and not the. Yeah. The other story is secondary, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like as well using the.
But the difference here, is Kenny spent ring time with his opponent, and he made him look good as well. Yeah. Whereas if you get pinned in 2 minutes, you don't look good. Your company does not look good.
Well, it does because they're on the verge of getting a better TV deal. So.
Okay. Well,
you know I mean?
What's funny is, it's like we have to divide it between the making money for the business, and pleasing the fans. You know.
Well, the fact, like, I don't. Yeah, you're right, but again, like, we know from Henry losing to Randy, right? TNA has got more notoriety, right? Even now, him losing the title to Trick, and obviously he's gonna win it back on a TNA show, which makes sense, right? So it kind of made sense. Trick winning on a WWE show, and then Joe Henry win it back on TNA show. So it kind of makes sense. It makes sense, but like that's why I kind of get you could not job out Superman to Supergirl, but you know. It's her show. It's the Supergirl show, not Superman featuring Supergirl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, but that's for us to continue the conversation when we get
see
there.
it. Yeah, because it might change our mind.
to tie it all back to this, right? Yeah, because somehow we're not going loose ends for no reason whatsoever.
No.
We're not going here or there, just decide,
No.
right? We'll tie it back to this and say they bought the Spider-Man license, as you're saying, right? And we're saying, oh, it's probably a business choice, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the people that are watching it, so you can parade the ads and stuff like that. Do you think this show got good ratings or anything like that? Do you think?
Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And do you think that's a byproduct of them not using classic Spider-Man elements? When I say that, I don't mean necessarily characters, but the Spider-Man kind of down and out life sort of thing, all the life dramas or stuff like that usually is associated with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
I say even during that time period. It was just a generic show with a guy in a costume
just generic show.
Criminals, street hoodlums and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Nothing special about it.
Nothing special, no.
Even though it had Spider-Man in it, right?
Yeah.
That's probably why you reckon that's why it had a limited amount of episodes.
Yes.
And I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if that's the reason why. They had a short run.
Yeah, because I think as well, I don't think it had the whole mythos of Spider-Man doing any favors at that point either. So that's probably why I was like, okay, well, we took a shot. We got 12 episodes out of it. Carry on.
Yeah, that's funny enough, because I do think there's sometimes people buy licenses for stuff, right? And then they were like, oh, we're going to put it on TV. Oh, we tried. And then, wash our hands of it. That's enough. Like, it's probably one person, for example, on the network saying, oh, we should get a license, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, let's get it. Let's shut this guy up. And then overly aggressively do
bare minimal.
Sabotage it.
Yeah, do bare minimal. Yeah.
He's like, hold on a minute. You can try to make money out of something. No, forget that.
Yeah, egos.
I'd rather spite this person
than
make us both money. All right?
Egos. Okay. That's what it is, isn't it? Egos.
Yeah.
Sadly.
So I can't exactly, even though, okay, I say I'm a Spider-Man fan, but at the same time, there's been stuff that I'm not a fan of in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I'm a Spider-Man fan enough, right? Not as much as I was a fan before. Yourself, would you say that you are a massive Spider-Man fan? Like you would say you're a massive X-Men fan, or would you say you're on a mid-level? Or
I say I'm a massive fan. It's weird, right? With certain things, I can rather like, okay, that was a part of this history. Doesn't bother me. It's carry on. But then I can do that with Spider-Man. But then there's things like with the X-Men I can't.
Okay.
I.e. the retcon that I keep always talking about, so I'm not going to talk about it again. With someone's lineage. Yeah. So.
But being a decent level Spider-Man fan, yeah.
Yeah.
This series, whether it existed or didn't exist, you wouldn't have cared.
No.
And that's strange enough. I mean, I would say the same. If it didn't happen, whatever. You know?
It doesn't change my life. Like I said.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said earlier, I'll probably end up forgetting this existed by the end of the week.
Though, if there was a X-Men series in the 70s, would you watch it? Or would you have been like, they should never have tried it because look, we saw Generation X, yeah?
Yeah.
So, would you think if there was a late 70s, early 80s X-Men series, it would never have been, I think they could have pulled it off.
No. Or if they would, it'll be none of the X-Men that anyone actually really cared about.
Well, I think they might have been able to pull up, certain people, like Cyclops, yeah, where they can animate the eye beams, yeah. They couldn't do Storm, they couldn't do Colossus.
No.
They might have done Beast with the prosthetics. Angel, I don't know if they could do the fake wing thing, but then that looks really ropey. Though to be fair, they have done it in the Flash Gordon TV series, not back in those days with even in the Flash Gordon 80s movie. So it could look ropey. I mean, it would look ropey, but yeah. They couldn't do Iceman, though. They could probably do Jean Grey because they just have to... Yeah.
Nah, what they probably do, if it was Iceman, you know what they do? He'll never turn to ice form. It'll just be like...
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Well, technically speaking, Heroes was kind of X-Men, and I don't know if you ever watched it. Alphas was also kind of X-Men.
The Alphas. No.
Oh, you don't know? You don't know? Yeah, you haven't seen that series, Alphas?
No.
You know when Heroes finished, they did just basically essentially another people with special powers.
It sounds
and then they
familiar,
became,
but I
yeah.
didn't.
Yeah. The one guy had the main character. I think he had super agility and stuff like that.
Okay.
You could do all parkour stuff, and then you had a guy who was super strong, and then
Yeah.
look, it wasn't amazing either, right? But
Yeah.
I could say it was also knockoff X-Men.
See, it sounds familiar, but I probably was on my wagon like, if it's not X-Men, I don't care. So have maybe.
Yeah. Well, Mutant X was also not X-Men, and you still watch that?
No, I didn't. I didn't watch on purpose. My mum and dad were watching. I'll be coming in and say like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
Right.
Even though it wasn't. Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah. Going back to this. Yeah. All we can say is.
Yeah.
They tried.
They tried. Thumbs up to them for trying, but yeah.
Yeah. Didn't try hard enough, as far as I'm concerned.
No.
Well, no, they didn't use elements they should have used, and they could have tried harder upon it. But they were like,
So,
I don't even know what they. Yeah. I can't. It's one of those things where I can't even say that I hate it.
No, I wouldn't say I hate it.
Because it's not even worth my hate.
No.
Kind of. No. It's so average. It's more like this, right?
Hmm.
It's not beneath me to hate it. What is this? It's so achingly average that I don't need to expend much more energy. Upon it.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay, you exist. You're an E4. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, hey. Applause to the people that pulled it off, that did it, and they are involved, and well done to your jobs and stuff like that. But that's. I'm not knocking any of you.
No.
The production at the end of it. That's what I'm.
I'm
not.
Yeah.
There's no shelf life for it.
No. Hence why it's probably never been collected on like DVD or anything. Yeah. Yeah. It's not worth printing it on.
Yeah. And I suppose if you are I don't even know if you want to check it out as a curiosity. If you're a mega Spider-Man fan, it was there. I just rather say watch the Toei Japanese Spider-Man, because at least that's wacky.
At least that's wacky, and you can find some entertainment out of it. This is just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pete Parker's
unless you want to know about 70s life, I guess.
But do you want to?
No, I
don't think anyone really wants to. So yeah, just don't bother with it. Yeah, don't bother.
No, well, funny enough, exactly. I would say, I mean, it's not terrible. Just like, there's no point. Really.
No point. If you want to know about
I mean, the thing is, I'm trying to straight out line where it's like, look, I don't want people to. It's just, it's just middle line all the way, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to call it terrible because it isn't terrible. It's just not.
But like, if you want to know,
I've seen worse.
Yeah, I've seen worse.
But the thing is, with worse, like Birds of Prey, you can remember stuff and you'd be like, oh my God, watch that, because that is just out of place.
But like Birds of Prey is like quite unique. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's for me. It's got probably a reason why I'll say it's better, because it's got, for me, the nostalgia of that period of the 2000s where I was getting older, and that was like my period of life. You know what I mean? It's got that to it. But maybe if you was born in the 70s and you remember 70s, maybe you might enjoy this. I don't know.
What? Well, okay. Speaking of that, let's say, so have you seen Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 3?
Probably.
The full match, right?
Probably, yeah.
Because I know most people have seen just the highlights and stuff like that, right?
I think I've seen a full match, and I think this when I realised I don't like wrestling from that period. But go on.
Yeah. The funny thing is, though, that's a snapshot of wrestling of that particular match where they hyped its importance at the time.
Yeah.
But it's a dull match.
Yes, it is terrible.
Even though you had Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat having a match on the same WrestleMania, which was really good.
It's like
so
16
they
times
could
better.
do stuff at the time,
Yeah.
It's just really weird when you're like, okay, on the same card, hours apart or maybe minutes or whatever, right? And you just realize the quality is just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, similar to this, I would say, if you're gonna watch Spider-Man, just watch the movies, right? And this live action version is skippable.
Yes.
It's not like, by the
Big
way, you know,
time.
when you have the options of the different versions of the live action versions of Superman, and you can say, oh, well, there's this version, that version, that version. They all kind of got a little bit of, I say, more distinguishing features. Because you've got the Kirk Allen Superman, the George Reeves Superman, Dean Cain Superman, and you want to count Smallville as well, and then the Superman and Lois. So there's 5 live action versions of Superman TV series, even if you want to count Superboy as well. And there's stuff you can say that's different from, like, they're not the same. You know?
Yeah. Not the same at all. Yeah.
In how they took the material and execution of it.
Yeah. So it's...
Whereas, I'd say this. Just watch one of the movies. Maybe...
Yeah, watch one of the movies. Or even watch Spider-Man and the Amazing Friends. You probably get more entertainment out of that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Yeah. But maybe not Spider-Man the '60s TV cartoon series, because that was
terrible as well.
Yeah.
It's the meme, it's not.
But you will say that either watch Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, but not the 90s. The other, would you say the other 1970s Spider-Man series? The Amazing Friends got better gimmick, right?
Yeah, Amazing got a better gimmick. Yeah.
Or you say either watch that or the 1994 Spider-Man TV series, right?
Of course that. Yeah, I recommend it to anyone. Yeah. That's probably best. One of the best shows.
But you would say not Spider-Man Unlimited.
No.
Which I haven't seen, by the way, so I can't even compare it to this.
Yeah, no.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, is that like this? Another one of Spider-Man media where you're like, it doesn't need to exist.
Yeah, and like the worst thing about Spider-Man Limited, when I watched something about why it ended up the way it is, it's like they didn't have a chance at all. People made it had no chance. Yeah, so it's kind of bad for that as well. I kind of got sympathy to find out afterwards.
I think also, like you said, the certain license could only use Spider-Man, and then that's why he had to go to the other world and stuff.
Yeah.
But then he might as well just not made that at all. What was it? I know they probably just made it for the toy line or whatever.
Yeah. So it's quite bad.
Money talks apparently. But hey, okay. So we sign off. We sign off on this series. Yeah.
Yes.
Which the non-Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes. The non-main Spider-Man and his flares. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did there. Funny. Oh. Yeah, we'll sign off for that. Yeah. Well, it was all right. Okay, so thank you for listening to us talk about Spider-Man 1977 to 1979. If you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. That's another thing. Yeah, it's out there on YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. That's all in our description box down below if you're watching on YouTube, and it's in the description box if you're listening from the audio realm. Also, I've put this out on our social media as well. Wait, are we doing Money in the Bank? Actually, no. Wait. Even if we are, our next episode will come out before that anyway. Yeah. It's a heads up. And then something else I'll run by you after we finish this anyway.
Yeah.
We're gonna be reading Ultimate Comics, The Avengers, because we finished the Ultimate series, the phase 1 of Ultimates. I would say it was phase 1.
Yeah.
So moving on to phase 2 of Ultimates with Ultimate Comics Avengers. So if you guys want to read it, like, let us read it, and then you can hear us talk about it. Send us some questions and stuff. Pretty cool.
Yeah. Because that is a. Look, I don't know where I run it. Like, the Ultimates is a crazy series.
Yes, it has its peaks.
And then they kind of, it doesn't get as crazy, but then there's some elements that are like. It's a wild ride, and we're going through it. So for sure.
Yeah. So that's gonna be our next one. So and I might give a brief history on other things what happened in the Ultimate universe before this. Yeah, because we only read the Ultimates. I'll give like a brief backstories on like what happened in the other Ultimate books that was in the first phase as well. So
yeah.
Keep people up to speed. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
Look forward to that. So I have been the man who tells people that's my sister and steals motorbikes, Kyle Charles, and
What's funny is that's a random reference that we didn't even get to
No,
there.
yeah. Oh.
So okay, just to actually explain what you're saying, because then people be like, "Where's that coming from?"
So confused.
Yeah, people they were chasing some criminals and I think they crashed a car.
Yeah.
So the criminals got away in the car. Then Peter Parker's like, he grabbed them. He was with Judy,
Yeah.
the other photographer from the other newspaper.
Yeah.
He grabs the motorcycle and he said, "Oh yeah, she's my sister. She'll pay for it, right?"
Yeah.
And then JJ Jason's also coming with. He was also in the car, so he's coming towards him, but because he's older, he's slower, right?
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh yeah. So our dad over there will pay for it," and she grabs the motorcycle and does a run as well.
Yeah. It's like.
And then James Jameson's left paying for both of them, and I
Left
do
for the
believe
bill.
what he ends up doing is he grabs I think it looks like, if I remember correctly, like a golf cart or
Yeah.
a go-kart or something like that to like one of those sort of cars to chase them as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and I am the Black Secretary with another name. See my chance.
Yes, which they already had a Black Secretary username. But anyway, sure. Yes, and thank you guys for listening to us, and thank you for taking a trip with us around Multiverse. Bye.
Bye.